Welcome back to SierraCast TV. Today, we're diving deep into something that's really got people talking online.
Oh, yeah.
It's where online fame meets real-world rules. You know what I mean?
We're looking at Marquise Brownlee.
MKBHD.
MKBHD, that's right.
That.
Better known to his 19.7 million YouTube subscribers
Wow.
as MKBHD, the tech expert who reviews everything from the latest smartphones to electric cars.
He's everywhere these days.
He is.
And what makes this deep dive so fascinating is that we're using police body cam footage made public on YouTube by the Transparency Bodycam channel.
Oh, wow.
To examine several instances where Brownlee was pulled over for traffic violations.
Interesting.
It really makes you wonder, did his celebrity status play a role in how these encounters unfolded?
It's a big question, isn't it? Does online influence translate into any real-world advantages, even when it comes to something as seemingly straightforward as traffic laws?
Right.
Let's jump into the first incident. It's June 30th, 2023, and Brownlee gets pulled over in his Tesla. Right off the bat, the officer notices those heavily tinted windows.
Yeah, you got to wonder what was going through his mind at that moment.
Eh.
Not only are the windows tinted,
Yeah.
but then Brownlee admits he doesn't even have his driver's license on him.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
To add another layer to this, New Jersey, where this all took place,
okay.
has very specific laws regarding window tinting.
So let me get this straight. He's driving around with illegally tinted windows
Uh-huh.
and no license. What would typically happen to a driver in this situation?
Well, you'd think it would be a recipe for some serious trouble, right?
Yeah.
At the very least, a hefty fine, possibly even more. But that's not quite how it played out.
Oh, okay. So what happened? Don't leave us hanging.
The officer verifies Brownlee's identity, perhaps recognizing him from his online presence.
Uh-huh.
And after a brief conversation about the tinted windows, lets him off with just a verbal warning.
Wow, just a warning. It makes you wonder if that would happen to just anyone.
Right.
But let's move on to the next incident. Fast forward to June 16th, 2024, about a year later,
Okay.
and Brownlee is pulled over again, this time for speeding. And we're not talking about going a few miles over the limit.
Oh, no.
He was clocked at 59-mile-per-hour winds in a 25-mile-per-hour rule zone, more than double the speed limit.
And to make matters even more interesting, the officer notes that Brownlee already has points on his license from a prior speeding violation back in 2022.
Oh, really?
This suggests a possible pattern of exceeding speed limits.
So not only is he speeding significantly, but he's also a repeat offender. You'd think with that history and this new violation, he'd be facing some serious consequences. I mean, come on.
But surprisingly, that's not what happens. Instead of receiving a speeding ticket, which would likely carry a hefty fine and potentially add more points to his license,
All right.
the officer issues him a citation for unclear plates,
What?
a much less serious offense,
Okay.
resulting in a mere $55 fine.
Hold on. He was going more than double the speed limit, had a previous speeding violation, and he gets off with a $55 fine for unclear plates. It's hard not to raise an eyebrow at that. It definitely adds fuel to that question of whether celebrity status might be playing a role here.
It certainly does, and
Right.
it brings up a really important question for you to consider.
Yeah.
Would this same level of leniency be extended to anyone else in a similar situation?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Before we delve deeper into the third incident, we wanted to take a moment to invite you to subscribe to SierraCast TV
Yes.
on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify.
Please do.
We're your source for in-depth discussions and fascinating deep dives like this one, exploring the topics that matter.
Back to Brownlee.
Yeah.
Our third encounter takes us to August 11th, 2024, just a couple of months after the speeding incident.
Okay.
This time, Brownlee is stopped at a gas station,
Huh.
and it's like a traffic violation extravaganza.
Oh my goodness.
Tinted windows, a tinted windshield, no front license plate, and a covered rear plate. It's a pretty long list.
Yes, it seems he's accumulated quite a few violations. You'd think this would lead to a cascade of tickets,
At least.
adding even more points to his license. But once again, we see a pattern of leniency emerging.
Okay, I'm really curious to hear how this one plays out. What happened?
The officer, after reviewing the various violations, claims to be giving Brownlee a break
A break.
by only issuing citations for 2 of the 4 violations, opting to overlook the tinted windshield and the lack of a front license plate.
A break. He's getting a break for having 4 separate violations.
Yes. The officer even specifically states he's choosing which citations to issue to avoid adding more points to Brownlee's license.
Seriously.
Now, this raises another important question. Is this truly an act of kindness, or is there something else at play here?
It's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore the pattern of leniency that seems to follow Brownlee in these encounters.
Yeah.
This wasn't a one-time thing. It's a consistent pattern across 3 separate incidents.
You're right. And what's particularly interesting is that in the second incident, the speeding violation,
Mm-hmm.
their officers specifically mentioned Brownlee's prior speeding ticket from 2022.
Oh, yeah.
This suggests that they might have recognized him, potentially influenced by his online persona.
Yeah, it does make you wonder if they might have Googled him right there on the spot.
You think so?
It's hard not to consider the possibility that someone without Brownlee's level of fame and online recognition might have received different treatment in those same situations.
That's a really important takeaway for all of us listening today. Does celebrity, even in the digital age, actually afford certain privileges in the real world? And if so, what does that mean for the idea of equal treatment under the law?
That's the heart of the matter, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all expect the law to apply equally to everyone, regardless of their job, their social media following, or their celebrity status.
Right.
But these incidents with Brownlee really make you question that assumption. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're not saying Brownlee did anything wrong by being famous. He's obviously worked hard to build his platform and his audience.
Of course.
But it's hard to ignore the pattern of leniency we're seeing here.
You're right. And it's important to remember that this isn't just about traffic violations or tinted windows. It raises broader questions about fairness, accountability, and how our justice system operates.
Exactly. If someone with a large online platform appears to be getting preferential treatment, it erodes public trust and makes people question the entire system. It's crucial to remember that the law should apply equally to everyone.
These body cam videos offer a glimpse into the complexities of law enforcement and how societal factors like fame and online influence might play a subtle role in these interactions.
It's almost like a real-life social experiment, but with serious, real-world consequences. It makes you think about all the interactions between law enforcement and individuals that aren't caught on camera.
It's a powerful reminder of the importance of transparency and accountability within law enforcement. Body cam footage, while not a perfect solution, offers a level of scrutiny that can help ensure fairness and just treatment for all.
And this is where the work of channels like Transparency Bodycam becomes so vital. They're shining a light on these encounters and encouraging us to ask tough questions and demand better from the systems that are supposed to serve and protect us.
We can't just sit back and assume that everything is always fair and impartial. Informed citizens are crucial for a healthy democracy. By engaging in these discussions, we contribute to a more just and equitable society.
Speaking of engaging in the conversation, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these encounters with Brownlee and the questions they raise about celebrity bias?
Yeah.
Head over to our YouTube, Facebook, or Spotify channels and share your perspective. We'd love to get your take on this.
It's essential to have these conversations because they help us examine our own biases and understand how they might shape our views.
All right, so we've taken a close look at these 3 incidents with Brownlee, and there's a clear pattern of leniency. But what does it all mean? What are the broader implications here?
These incidents highlight the potential for something called implicit bias to creep into law enforcement. Now, implicit bias refers to the unconscious attitudes or stereotypes that affect our understanding actions and decisions in an unconscious manner.
So basically, it's bias we might not even be aware of.
Precisely. While it's impossible to know for sure what was going on in the officers' minds during these encounters, the pattern of leniency raises valid concerns about whether an average person would have received the same treatment. It's a reminder that even those in positions of authority can be influenced by implicit biases.
So it goes beyond just Brownlee and these specific traffic stops. It makes you think about all those interactions where implicit bias might be a factor but isn't being recorded or scrutinized.
It's a sobering thought.
Yeah.
And it underscores the need for ongoing awareness training and accountability within law enforcement to address these biases and ensure fair treatment for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We all deserve to be treated equally under the law. And what about Brownlee himself? Is there anything he can learn from these incidents?
This could be a valuable opportunity for him to use his platform to address these very issues we've been discussing.
Right.
He could acknowledge the concerns raised by the footage
Uh-huh.
and engage in a constructive dialogue about responsible driving and the potential influence he has on his audience.
I think that's a fantastic point. Instead of shying away from this, he could turn it into something positive.
Yeah,
He could use his influence to promote safer driving habits
absolutely.
and raise awareness about the importance of equal treatment under the law.
Exactly. It's a chance for him to demonstrate leadership
Yeah.
and show that even those with a large following are not above the law
Right.
and are committed to using their platform for good.
So this deep dive into MKBHD's traffic encounters wasn't just about tickets and tinted windows.
Yeah.
It was about the subtle ways in which societal dynamics, like fame and online influence, can intersect with law enforcement. and the potential for implicit bias to impact those interactions.
It's a reminder that we all need to be aware of our own biases, both conscious and unconscious,
Yeah.
and work towards creating a society where everyone is treated fairly and justly.
It's a call to action for all of us to stay informed, ask tough questions,
Yeah,
and use our voices to advocate for a more just and equitable world.
for sure.
And if you're enjoying this deep dive into these complex issues,
Yeah.
be sure to subscribe to SierraCast TV on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify for more thought-provoking discussions and in-depth analyses.
Remember, we all have a role to play in holding those in positions of authority accountable
Yeah.
and working towards a society where justice truly prevails.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive here at SierraCast TV.
It's been great.
We're your source for news and entertainment that makes you think.
Until next time, stay curious and stay engaged.